right, Shalom, Shalom, mighty. First and foremost, before I get started, as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim that's pushing this word in truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth, waking up the hopeful elect that's risking their lives and freedoms to do so, definitely more so now than ever before. This is the brother Zion Amar from the GMS Detroit Back Camp, and this is going to be a lesson regarding our health. You know what I'm saying? You know, our health, our well-being while we're here in this earth. You know, the Lord gave us a dietary law for a very good reason, right? And that's to keep us of a sound mind, to keep us of good health, right? Where we wouldn't have to experience any diseases, right? Which goes into obedience, meaning just doing what the Lord say do. The Lord know better than we would know. This is His creation, all right? So for you anti-Christians, right? You know, that basically believe you can eat anything, and you know the Lord, you know, just gonna, you know, you just gotta pray over, and the Lord just sanctions for you to eat whatever you want, and it's all good. No, that ain't the case. You don't go like that. The dietary law still is in effect. All right, we're still in biblical times. Why? Because people reading Bibles out here. The Bible is still in effect. The Bible is the scripture is going to be used in the kingdom of heaven. Right? This ain't going nowhere. Right? So you still, to the best of your ability, have to abide by them. Right? And one of the easiest things that you could do, right, to show your devotion to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is keeping the dietary law. Right? You can make a conscious decision not to eat pork. You can make a conscious decision not to eat crab, shellfish, and lobster. Fish with scales, all right? You can make a conscious decision to do that. Right now, we understand we're in captivity. Certain foods, you know, are just out of your control. But what you're aware of and what you know, right? You don't have to go to the grocery store and purchase some pork chops, pork shoulders, or whatever. You literally don't have to do that. You see. So that's a willful sin, you see. So there's a difference between willful sins and things that are done in ignorance, right? But just to read this real quick, this is a damn shame, you know. I'm not surprised, but hey, that's all you gotta do. Just look at the people of America. What they have the SAD. The SAD diet, right? I forget what it stands for. SAD. Is it SAAD? Let's see. SAD diet. It sounds ridiculous. SAD diet. It is Standard American Diet. It's called SAD. So what did that should say? You know what? That shouldn't be the diet for you. You know what I'm saying? It said key features of the SAD diet, right? First of all, let me read it. Here it said the Standard American Diet. SAD refers to a dietary pattern commonly consumed in the United States that is characterized by high levels of processed foods, unhealthy fats, and added sugars. All right, this is what putting Jake in the grave for damn sure. You know, because Jake, you know, with all these food deserts, right, and all these overly processed foods, right, whether it's a restaurant or grocery stores, right, Jake basically orders and eats anything that's in a box. You know, he's not too keen to go to the fresh fruits, vegetables, right, fruit juices, things like that. A lot of our people shop from the grocery store, which is where everything is in a box. Right? A lot of that so-called food, right, that's being sold now wasn't even created, or wasn't, it wasn't even here, say, 20, 25 years ago. This is newly created food, so-called food, all right, and it's doing nothing but destroy you. You see? So going back, when we read this, right? I put in pigs have less body fat than Americans, and the answer to that statement is yes. Yes, the average American now has a higher body fat percentage than the average farm-raised pig. All right, we know how big a pig can get. You know what I'm saying? I think a pig, let's see, how much does what's the average weight of a So the average adult pigs generally weigh between 140 and 300 kilograms, which is 310 to 660 pounds, right? And we see people like that. That's sad to say. That's kind of fairly normal in this society to see people that's 300 pounds. You know what I'm saying? 300-400 pounds. Like that's regular. MBs and everything in between. And it's due to this sad-ass American diet. You see that? The fast food, DoorDash, and all that, right? Destroying you. So going back, it says the average American man has about 28% body fat, and the average American woman has around 40% body fat. Right, so women are naturally bigger or basically overweight, all right, more so than men. And also you see that in men, when men do make the conscious decision to lose weight, men are typically more successful in getting the weight off and at a fast pace, and also keeping it off. You see, we're reading on, it says, saying while a modern pig typically has about 16% body fat, this is largely because modern pigs have been bred to be leaner, which I don't know how true that statement is, but whatever. While obesity rates have increased in the American population, right? And this is all a result of what? Of the so-called white man rule, all right? In the kingdom, ain't gonna be one Israelite that's out of shape, all right? Ain't gonna be out of shape, out of breath, no stamina, no strength, all right? We're gonna be in perfection in the kingdom, all right? Of a sound mind, of good health, all of our days. We're gonna be immortals, in fact, all right? We're not gonna die, all right? We're not gonna get sick, none of that, because we're gonna be perfect. The Lord is going to make us perfect by installing his or putting his laws within our mind, to where we're going to keep the law perfect. Okay? So yeah, that's the result, right, of American people, all right, being overweight, having the body fat percentage higher than pigs, is simply because virtually no one is keeping instructions to the people of Israel. The people of Israel, the Israelites, are you so-called Negroes, Latins, and Native Americans. All right. You also have the diaspora, the scattered Israelites. All right, which we call Israelite foreigners, meaning they're Israelites, but they may look like, all right, heathen nations due to the fact they were scattered, all right, in these foreign countries, all right. So they may look like the heathen nation, but their spirit, all right, according to the seed, is of an Israelite. You see, we're reading on. It says, you may eat any animal that has completely split hooves and choose to cut. Meaning it basically chooses food, right? Regurgitates it and chews it again. What's the word I'm looking for? Digests it, all right, its food again. Okay, it said you may not, however, you see, eat the following animals that have split hooves or that chew the cud, but not both. The camel chews the cud, but does not have split hooves. Therefore, you can't eat camel meat. All right. There used to be a misconception some years back as to it being lawful. No, you can't, because it doesn't have a split hoof. It chews the cud, but it doesn't have a split hoof. So therefore, no, camels is out of the question. That's an unclean animal. All right. So it is ceremonial unclean for you. It says the hyrax chews the cud but does not have split hooves, so it is unclean. I believe that's a bunny rabbit. All right. Actually, no, right here, verse 6. It says the hare chews the cud but does not have split hooves, so it is unclean. That's the bunny rabbit. All right. Because Jake is big on, all right, having eating rabbit. You know what I'm saying? That's off. You see it sold in a lot of those like fish fry places. You say you buy, we fry. You know what I'm saying? They'll have fish, they have crab and the oysters and all that. And then you'll see some damn rabbit in there. You know, that's off. You're not supposed to be eating no rabbit. All right. It says the pig has evenly split hooves, but does not chew the cud, so it is unclean. You see, that's one of Jake's number one enemies regarding food is that damn pork, man. Jake gotta have that pork one way or another. Not knowing when you go into the history dealing with chiefly, all right, the Hellenistic period, all right, meaning the time when we were in captivity under the Greeks, all right, pork was actually forced upon our people, all right. When we were in our right mind, you couldn't, Jake would die before he would eat pork, all right. That's how real it was. That's how serious this is, you know. So you have that. I'm gonna jump to Sirach. All right, 30. continue, it says, there is no riches above a sound body, and no joy above the joy of the heart. That's right. To have your mental faculties intact, right? You don't have, you're not a schizophrenia. You don't have Parkinson's or what's that other one? ALS or no type of neurological diseases. You know what I'm saying? That's above, all right? Money can't buy that. You know what I'm saying? Some people get certain disease and they spend all the money in the world and still doing bad. Case in point, Deion Sanders. He's got a lot of money, right, and fame, but you're seeing through these years, especially these last 5 years, his health has been debilitating. You know what I'm saying? And I bet, hey, for all that money, he would just want to just feel good, right, and not having to go through the turmoil that he's going through right now. You see? So, again, yeah, it's a damn shame, man, that most Americans, all right, body weight, body fat percentage is more than that of swine. Like, how that makes sense? That's why, hey, when you read Acts the 10th chapter, in the NLT way, he basically relate our people to being animals, being reptiles, beasts, because our people basically have, a beast type, mentality. You see Jay eat anything. He'll shove anything in his mouth, right, for the sake of some views, some clicks. You know what I'm saying? That's not using wisdom, right? And that shows that, hey, 2/3 of our people are reprobate, all right? They're void of judgment. We don't know how to make good decisions, you see? So I'm going to just leave it there. Lord willing, this was edifying with that. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh.